Imagine the sheer relief and the raw emotion of families reunited after more than 2 years of agonizing uncertainty. That's the heart of the story unfolding in Gaza, where a fragile peace deal has just seen Hamas free 7 Israeli hostages, marking a pivotal step toward ending the conflict. But here's where it gets controversial. Is this genuine progress, or just a temporary pause that leaves deeper wounds unhealed? Stick with me as we dive into the details, and you might find yourself questioning the very nature of compromise in such a fraught region. In a move orchestrated by the Trump administration, Hamas let go 7 Israeli captives early Monday morning as part of a comprehensive Gaza ceasefire agreement. These individuals, primarily everyday civilians, had endured captivity in Gaza for over 730 days, far longer than most of us can fathom. Their liberation wasn't just symbolic. It represented a critical requirement from both Israel and the United States to halt the hostilities that have ravaged the area since October 7, 2023, when Hamas launched brutal attacks that killed hundreds and triggered the war. To give you some context for beginners, this deal isn't just about swapping people. It's a high-stakes negotiation aimed at de-escalating a conflict that's displaced millions, destroyed infrastructure, and claimed countless lives. Think of it like a chess game where every piece moved could tip the balance. But in this case, the board is real lives. The timing was impeccable. The initial releases kicked off just before President Trump touched down in Israel on a diplomatic mission designed to solidify his vision for peace in the Middle East. And this is the part most people miss. These moves are interwoven with broader geopolitical shifts, where a U.S. leader's influence could redefine alliances in the region. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of what happened. Under the agreement, Hamas was obligated to hand over all 20 surviving hostages by noon local time on Monday. The rollout began with the first batch of 7 emerging shortly after 8 a.m. Hamas handed them off to the International Committee of the Red Cross, which safely escorted them to Israeli military personnel stationed within Gaza itself. The remaining 13 are slated for release at 10 a.m., paving the way for a potential full cessation of fighting. From there, the hostages are being whisked to a secure military facility just outside the Gaza Strip, where emotional reunions with loved ones can finally unfold. Medical teams are standing by to transfer them to hospitals across Israel, providing the urgent care they've been denied for so long. Picture this. These hostages have spent the majority of their ordeal in dark, subterranean tunnels, places where basic necessities like food and water were scarce, and where injuries from the initial October 7th assaults went largely untreated. Israeli authorities are bracing for the possibility that many may arrive in dire condition, highlighting the human toll of prolonged captivity. Zooming in on another layer of the deal, Hamas is also tasked with recovering the remains of 28 hostages who tragically didn't survive. Among them are 2 Americans, Itai Chen, an Israeli-American soldier whose fate was confirmed earlier, and Omer Nutra, whose story added an international dimension to the crisis. During talks, Hamas representatives admitted they aren't privy to the precise whereabouts of all these bodies. In some instances, the guards assigned to them perished in the fighting, or the sites were buried under the rubble of collapsed buildings. But here's the twist that could fuel debate. How reliable are these claims, and does this uncertainty undermine the trust needed for lasting peace? To address this, a joint international team has been assembled, bringing together experts from multiple nations to exchange intelligence on potential grave sites and coordinate recovery efforts within Gaza. It's a collaborative effort aimed at closure for grieving families, but one that underscores the complexities of operating in a war-torn zone where evidence can be elusive. On the flip side of the equation, Israel is reciprocating with its own releases. In exchange for the hostages, the country will free 250 Palestinian prisoners currently serving life sentences in Israeli facilities, nearly all those in this category, with just a couple of exceptions. Additionally, about 1,700 Palestinians detained by Israeli Defense Forces in Gaza post-October 7th will be let go. However, this is where opinions diverge sharply. Israel has drawn a firm line, refusing to release any Hamas fighters directly involved in the October 7 attacks, as well as a handful of high-profile figures like Ibrahim Hamed, a Hamas military commander, and Marwan Barghouti, a former Fatah leader from the West Bank. These individuals are seen by some as untouchable symbols of resistance, but to others as key players in perpetuating the cycle of violence. More context. Check out related Axios coverage on how Trump has declared an end to the Gaza war, his plans for a summit with world leaders in Egypt, and his own take on why this deal might stand as his most significant achievement. Go deeper into the story by exploring these resources. What do you think? Does this hostage swap represent true justice? Or is it a band-aid on a gaping wound? Are Israel's refusals to release certain prisoners fair, or do they hinder reconciliation? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear perspectives from all sides, as this is a topic ripe for debate.